Hello everyone, selamat siang, and welcome back to We Are Team Garuda. Now, I've been away for quite a while, for a few months. I was very busy, I had things to do, and usually I make videos after each match. However, I felt like the games in June, there was not much to say, and that's why I decided to not make any videos. I wanted to wait until the World Cup qualifiers were decided and, kind of comment maybe on the entire summer instead of just a few games in June. Um, well, where to start, really? I think overall the summer has been pretty disastrous for almost, I would say, every level of Indonesian football. It's been pretty dire. The only maybe highlight was the Mandiri Cup, but that was played in Indonesia, and we know that at home we are quite good. So we should be winning that anyway. And we didn't. We lost to Vietnam, I think, in the final. Started out very well. We destroyed some team. I forgot which one it was, but it was like a very high score, and there was this guy who scored, I think, 4 goals or something, or even five maybe in one game. I don't know. But yeah, the Mandiri Cup was probably the only highlight, I would say, of the entire summer because the rest was just not very good or not good at all. Especially, it was not good for women. And there was one cup which was called, let me see here, I have it here. It's called I'm not sure like what it is exactly, but it's called the MSIG Serenity Cup 2025. And Indonesia finished bottom with only 1 point, joint bottom, I should say, with Cambodia. We both finished with 1 point. However, the goal gulf was absolutely ridiculous. Only 1 goal scored and 15 goals conceded. So I was reading like a lot of comments, and I don't know if it's true because I don't live in Indonesia. So like I can only judge from what I see in the comments. Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of Indonesians are saying that the reason why, especially like women football is so bad is because basically we don't have a professional women's league yet in the country. Apparently, like I heard, I don't know again if it's true. Apparently, it will start in 2027. But yeah, we currently like are one of the few countries that don't have a professional women league, so you might ask like, okay, so how in that case, like how do we put teams together? And well, yeah, it's basically like, some women like to play football, and I guess it's kind of like a Sunday league, they just go and practice with their friends, and you know uh, yeah, they become incorporated to the team eventually because there's not probably much to choose from anyway. But yeah, they're not like, I would say, professional. They're more kind of amateur level. So yeah, until we start having like proper investment, it's not going to happen. But my great fear is that this investment is not going to really come, and the reason is because there's a lot of corruption in Indonesia. Again, it's not just in football, but it's at every possible level of society. Like it's really, really bad. I mean, okay, it's true. Like you can say, well, you don't live there, so you don't know. Fair enough. But I have a lot of friends in Indonesia, and that's what they tell me. Yeah. So in fact, just I think yesterday or a couple of days ago, there were again big protests in Jakarta, protesting against corruption. Basically, this is going on all the time. I wish we had that in America. By the way, I mean it's kind of a joke that Americans just really take things for granted and stuff like that. But anyway, let's get back to football. Um, the yeah, so the summer was pretty disappointing. The last two games that we played, well, the senior national team played, were both in June, and the first one was against China. It was played in Jakarta, and we won 1-0. Um, I would say like deserved win. We controlled the game for the most part. I think China didn't have many chances. They had like that one shot, which was a really good shot, by the way. Like the guy kind of like actually goes away from goal, but then he spins his body, and it's like a really good shot. It was going in, by the way. Like absolutely, it required a save. It was a really good save by Odero, who was in goal on the day. However, in my opinion, Odero is look. I know people are gonna say, uh, okay, yeah, he plays in Italy, and he plays for a club that just beat Milan. Okay, sure, but Milan is not the same as Milan from the days of Filippo Inzaghi and Paolo Maldini and Andrei Shevchenko, etc., etc. This is not the same team. They have good players, yeah, but as a team, they've been quite terrible for, I mean, since probably those days that I mentioned. So look, it's still like a big achievement that a team like Cremonese, who just got promoted, beat Milan. However, let's not get, carried away too much, okay? I still think that Martin Pace is the better keeper, but I don't know what happened to him. I don't see him in the lineup anymore. Is he just out of favor, or is he injured? That I'm not sure. But for me, he's the better keeper of the two. But it's good to have like both options, I guess. But for me, just Martin Pace is the better option. The other big problem we have right now is that Romani is out with a long-term injury. Marcelino Ferdinand basically doesn't play for the senior team in Oxford. He doesn't even make the bench. Okay, so we'll come back to the team like a little bit later, but it's just not looking very good at the moment. I know that like in our group later we have Saudi Arabia and they have issues as well, but we also have big issues. The other game that we played in June was against Japan, and that was played in Japan. Japan played a kind of not like a really B team, but it was like a mixture of A and B team. Definitely a lot of starters did not play that game, and we just got absolutely destroyed. I mean, 6-0. Uh, I watched the game because, like, it was on TV, obviously here, but just embarrassing. I mean, some of the goals were. I don't even know like how that happens. I mean, it can only happen if there is no training whatsoever. Like, I know that Japan is good. Don't get me wrong. Japan is, the best team in Asia by far. I mean, the way that they, if Japan plays at their best, it almost feels like watching some kind of like video game because it's just like crazy passing. It's so accurate. It's so fast, and the opposition is just like they can't like keep up. So it's not just like they destroyed Indonesia, but they destroyed other teams as well. China, I remember. So yeah, not a surprise that we lost, but it's just like it was like just embarrassing to watch. I don't think we had one shot on goal. Maybe some kind of half a chance in 90 minutes. But yeah, just absolutely embarrassing. I don't know. So let's talk briefly about the coaching staff. So Patrick Kluivert was appointed because the government body decided that Shin Tae-yong was apparently not suited anymore. He didn't really engage in the culture. He didn't learn the language and stuff like that. And I understand, like, definitely there is some fault on his end. I mean, if you if you work in that country, and if you're like a national team coach, so you should at least try to make an effort to learn the language. Nobody expects you to be some kind of master of Bahasa Indonesia, okay? But you should make some kind of effort. I don't think he even spoke English, which is like a double embarrassment, because at least like if you can speak English, you can kind of get away with it, But the fact that he didn't speak either language is is kind of just shameful. It's shameful. However, you know, they fired him because they said that, well, if he stays, we're currently like incorporating a bunch of foreign players. Well, foreign, like, you know, you know what I mean. And obviously he, again, communication, like language barriers, etc., etc. So we can't have him. And they decided to sack him. Patrick Kluivert, in my opinion, okay, and as in my humble opinion, I've been following football for about 30 years now, so I know a fair amount about it, I would say. In the coaching world, Patrick Kluivert is an absolute nobody, okay? He's a nobody. He hasn't achieved anything yet. Yeah, I know technically maybe like maybe with Curacao, I think that's how you pronounce the name of that country. He did all right, and they're like a tiny team as well. So I think the idea was, okay, well, he did okay with them, so maybe he'll do okay with us. But however, like still as a coach, he's really like, I think in Europe he would have a really hard time finding a job, okay? This is how low his coaching reputation is. So I don't have any faith in the guy, okay? I hope he proves me wrong. I really do. I'm always willing to give like people a chance, I'm not gonna kick them before they even started, because that's ridiculous. But the results so far don't indicate any progress whatsoever. So far, under his guidance, we played 4 games, right? We have 2 wins and 2 losses. Well, if you look just on a percentage point of view, that's a 50% win rate, and that sounds pretty good, right? I mean, a lot of coaches would get hired with 50%. I mean, that's a pretty decent win rate. However, if you just look at the details, you realize that it doesn't have much meaning at all. So the first game he had in charge was the horrible defeat in Sydney, 5-1 to Australia. That was just a horrific horror show. Uh, just everything. Okay, like I said in my review before, Australia were extremely lucky that game. I think just kind of everything went their way on the day. And when that happens, you can't like do much. It's just like, what can you do? But still, like, some of the goals were extremely soft though. Like the goals considered from the corners, unforgivable. Then they had a tough game against Bahrain in Jakarta. That was a victory, 1-0. That was like a decent game, but again, that was in Jakarta, and we usually play well at home. The problem is that we get destroyed once we play outside. But in football, unfortunately, you have to play games outside. Not every game is at home. Not every game is going to be in Jakarta. So it's fine. It's great to win at home, but you need to build the mentality to go out abroad and get results as well. You can't just like rely on home form. That only gets you so far, and then then you're done. The following game was also won. Again, we played in Jakarta against China. I already mentioned that one. And then the last game was played away in Japan, in a place called Suita, which I don't even know where the hell that is. I live here, but I don't know where that is. And yeah, we got destroyed 6-0. So if you actually add up all the goals scored and conceded, we only scored 3 goals, okay? And we conceded 11. So that's a goal differential of -8. So again, you can look at the win rate, and the win rate by itself looks pretty good. However, if you look at the details, it's just horrendous. It's like, come on, seriously, you want to tell me that under Shin Tae-yong we would have done even worse than that? I I don't buy that. I just don't. Shin Tae-yong is an actual like coach. You know, he went to a World Cup. He beat Germany at the time. I know that Germany was not good, okay, in that period. I know, but still, I think they weren't they like the hosts of the tournament that year. I don't remember. Maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing something. But anyway, yeah, that was kind of a good win for Korea at the time. It was the only game they won, by the way. But still, I just I don't know. I'm not like feeling the progress just yet. Definitely not. Definitely not. I think like I can see like in the games there are certain patterns which are good. However, yeah, like even against Japan, we were just completely outclassed and outfought. Like physically, they were better. Um, just outmuscled everything. Like I don't know, these guys need to work on pretty much like every single aspect. I think fitness and skill. Yeah, just practice, practice, practice. Look, guys, Japan, like 25 years ago, uh, it's true that they did qualify for some tournaments here and there, but overall, as a team, they were like relatively poor. Okay, definitely nowhere near what they are today. But that's only 25 years ago. I mean, it's not like a huge amount of time. Okay. So Japan proved like basically within like about 20 years or so, you can build like a pretty much like the best team in Asia. And how do you do that? Well, you invest. You invest and you invest in your league. You make sure that, the fitness improves, that there is a process, like the kids start to play early, and there is an early development for the kids, and all of that kind of carries on until high school and then university level, and then eventually like you become like a kind of semi pro, I guess. And then if you're good enough, then you become a pro. So there is a clear kind of pathway to the top. And if you're really good, by the way, then many clubs in Europe right now are very interested in Japanese players because they know that it's also cultural. Uh, I would say the majority, of course, there are exceptions, but the majority of Japanese people, just culturally, are extremely hardworking. So, like everything they do, at least you know that they will put in the effort. At least you know that. So yeah, a lot of teams in Europe kind of admire this mentality. So that's why Japanese players export very well to European teams, and some of them are like good teams. Like it's for example Brighton. Mitoma plays there. Uh, uh, what's his name? I forgot his name. Kagawa. Yeah, but okay, it's a bit older, but he played for Manchester United at the time. He was like a megastar at Dortmund, which is one of the top teams in Germany. So yeah, I think that's kind of ultimately the goal for Indonesian football. However, like I mentioned at the start, I just don't really buy it because unfortunately we just have a lot of corruption in the country. So I just don't believe that they will invest the money properly. I think it's kind of like, you know, let's say there is some kind of budget allotted, right? So like $1 million. Let's just say as an example, right? So like there is a $1 million investment in the project. I'm pretty sure that some sports minister who has no business of being there whatsoever is just gonna like swipe swipe a certain percentage out of that immediately, and then everybody just takes a cut, and after everybody has taken their share, uh, whatever is left, whatever pathetic amount is left, is going to be used for development. But that's just not enough. That's not how it should work. If you operate in that way, there's never going to be progress. Okay. So I would say, like, yeah, the number one problem is corruption. Like, you have to fix corruption, and for fuck's sake, have a women's league. Having said that, we have a couple of friendlies coming up in, actually next week. First, we play Chinese Taipei. That's going to be the 5th of September in Surabaya. And we are going to play Lebanon on the 8th of September, also in Surabaya. It's at the same stadium, Gelora Bung Tomo Stadium. It's also at the same time, by the way. Yeah. So these are friendlies, and the players have been summoned. I'll just like show you the screenshots as I comment very quickly, but there's no real surprise, I would say. The only, yeah, the keeper, we're missing Martin Pace. I'm not sure what's up with that guy though. Is he injured or what? In the back, we have a pretty good back. However, I'm not sure why Jordi Amat is there. I mean, that guy, seriously, like, he needs to retire. I mean, even a couple of years ago, he was already super slow, and now he's obviously, a couple of years older, so he must be even slower than before. So why is he in the team? He's old as well. Like, there's no point to have him, especially for friendlies. Friendlies are good games to experiment with younger players. So why is he in the team? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Then in the front line, that's very interesting because, well, obviously we're missing Romani. He's out. But we have Stefano Lillipali is back in the team again. That guy is 35 or 36 now. Again, I have no idea why he's in the team. I just don't get it. Why have these old guys in the team? Like, I know that obviously the older you get, the more experience you have. And sometimes, experience is valuable, obviously. However, again, these are friendlies. This is a good time to experiment with new players, and we're just not doing that. We're just not doing that. In the midfield looks pretty good. It's kind of the standard squad. Yeah, not much to say here. Again, midfielders, no surprise. Pretty good lineup as far as like the back and the midfield is concerned. But I am a bit concerned about the keeper situation and about the forward situation. I think those two are going to be tough. And finally, just a quick word on the qualifiers for the World Cup. Well, first of all, before I even talk about that, I just want to quickly say something as an American citizen. Right now, what is happening in America is absolutely unacceptable. It's this kind of neo-fascism going on where, if they just don't like the color of your skin or they don't like the way you speak English or whatever, if you posted something on social media that it goes against the current government, the current cabinet, they can actually like just deny you access into the country or deport you. As an American citizen, obviously I never voted for that, but I just think it's absolutely unacceptable. And if the situation continues, I sincerely hope that FIFA actually takes away the right for the United States to host the World Cup next year. Just move it to Canada. Canada's fine for now, anyway. But forget it. Like, if that's going to be the policy of the American government going forward, that we basically just don't like foreigners, well, anybody who doesn't look white, then screw them. They need to be punished in some way. Now, having said that, FIFA as a organization is also extremely corrupt. And unfortunately, like in a perfect world, if they had any integrity and humanity, they would do what I just said. However, because of again corruption and backroom deals here and there, they're probably not going to do that, which says a lot about them, to be honest. But as far as I'm concerned, again, as an American citizen, I just think it's a complete disgrace if the current situation goes on and the US gets to host the World Cup next year. I think that's absolutely disgraceful. But okay, having said that, politics now out of the window. Uh, just very quickly commenting on the group that we ended up in. It's a very, very tough group, guys. I mean, seriously, I mean, this is probably like the worst we could have gotten, to be honest, because we got Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and obviously Indonesia is in the group. Only three teams this time. I think only now the first one qualifies, and then something happens to like the second place. Maybe there's like some kind of playoff. I'm not exactly sure because this is like kind of a new format, and I'm like very confused like how it works. But I believe that's how it works. Anyway, the winner goes through. Maybe like the second place gets a playoff against the second place of Group A, and then the winner of that also qualifies. But that's just like don't quote me on that. I honestly don't know. However, it's a very very tough group. Um, I I think it's a tough group for all the teams because Saudi Arabia right now has a lot of issues as well. Because what happened is that their league, they have a lot of money. So what they did is they basically went ahead and they hired a bunch of foreign players like Ronaldo, Mane, etc., etc. And what happened is that they, of course, because they're better than the local players, they started to get into the teams, into the starting 11s. And that meant that the local players, the Saudi Arabian players, they got less and less playtime. So that could play in our favor. I think it played in our favor before. Like we already beat them before. Uh, they they just didn't look very good because again they don't get enough playtime on the pitch at home. I don't think the situation has improved much, so maybe like we can do something, but I think it's just going to be very, 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 very difficult. And Iraq as well is a very physical team. It's kind of like similar to Saudi Arabia in a way. The only difference maybe is that Saudi Arabia qualifies for World Cups, Iraq doesn't. However, I think the difference between them is not huge. It's 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 really not big at all, I would say. And yeah, when are they going to be played though? Well, I think there's going to be a couple of rounds which are not mentioned yet on the wiki, but the first one is going to be on the 8th of October. So, that's not that far away. And that's going to be against Indonesia, against Saudi Arabia, pardon me. However, that's a away game. That's going to be played in Jeddah. And then Iraq against Indonesia, that's also going to be played in Jeddah on the 11th of October. So basically, yeah, we have two games away in Saudi Arabia, crucial games, World Cup qualifiers. We can't rely on home form anymore. We have to go at least to one of them and get a result. I think there are more games though. There should be like home games because otherwise it's not really fair. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I think it's gonna be it's gonna be very, very tough. That's my kind of verdict, but we'll see what happens. I might do another video before October, maybe to give you some kind of team update. I think there's not too much to say about the friendlies. I'm not even sure I'm gonna watch them, to be honest. But I'll check the results, obviously. Excuse me. But I'm not gonna do like player ratings, really, etc. So yeah. Again, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. or evening or morning, whenever you watch this. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.